mysteries, I'd make a lot more money than nature writing.
Maybe environmental mysteries,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Questions?
You know, you were just talking about your friend being, feeling that he was a hypocrite and an environmentalist, and seems pretty harsh. You know, you can't do so much, and if you have it in your heart, you're going to continue it and try to live it, but if you don't fly, you won't get anywhere to spread the word. And so it's not like you got to be a purist on everything you do. You just got to do your best wherever you are, and you know, you'll make a change at some point, and that part will be your part, and maybe not be so hard on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's, I think if there's, I mean, that's I hadn't, you know, I've been talking about this all fall in different places, and I never had it put exactly that way, that really, in a lot of ways, this book is about being an anti-purist. You know, it's like to me, the perfectibility and the notion that, you know, we can be one way might sound nice in a lab or an idea, but in reality, we're all like our sloppy, complex selves. And if you have some good impulses that, you know, whatever you do, whether you go out and paddle or whatever, you know, that's a good thing, and it doesn't have to be pure. And I'm not trying to be harsh toward Dan Driscoll. In fact, I kind of hold him up as a model of somebody he's a little bit of an entrepreneur, he's a little bit of a hustler, he's funny, but he's gotten something done. And as I say in the book, he didn't save the world, but he saved a small part of the world. And that was that's pretty damn good.
That was his world.
A lot of people will see it. I don't think you can be a purist and reach the people that you're trying to help, because you're going to only reach a certain number of those people. Exactly. You got to be more of a common man, common person to reach, to sort of blend in and reach everybody, or have an effect and not scare people off or not intimidate people.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know, I jokingly said we've got Teddy Roosevelt staring over our shoulder, and I do think, in contrast to say Obama, I do think there is a way, and I think Dan's a pretty good model of somebody who, okay, you first establish a common ground, but you're not just doing that to kind of be one of the guys. You're not doing it as kind of just like, hey, I'm your friend. You know, that's your personality, that's how you are, but then you can drive people towards something more. It's not something perfect, but it, you know, through the energy of one's personality, through the energy of one's vision. Abby's an example, you know, we were just talking about, like, you can just say, okay, I don't want you to be, I don't want you to be perfect, I don't want you to be, but here's a possibility in this life that you can do a little more, whether it's planting a garden in your backyard, you know, paddling down the Cape Fear, whatever it is, small prods to do a little more are as important as big visions, you know, I think.
Inclusionism, you know, being pushed out of or retained out of Cuba all these years, and or any other place that we could possibly be, to me, is the worst thing to do. You can't affect people very much from the outside, but if you go in, you can have more effect on people.
Yeah.
You know, if we've been in Cuba all these years, it could have been, just they would have seen more of what we have, or we think, or can have, and it may have affected the people more. But
the only downside would be like Miami Beach or something. You know?
Yeah, Liberty City. But and the good side of it all is that they have saved their coral reefs. And their outback water stuff and all that, and that's probably the only reason it's saved, because we weren't there, and now they have started to save it and put it into a national park, you might say, and once they know we're coming. Yeah. You know, they know we're coming, and they're getting ready to
that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, all the farmers, everything out there.
We're pretty relentless.
We would have killed it long ago with all the cruise ships. And everybody else in the world too, not just America, but, you know, they've had a chance to see the worst of us and the rest of the world, and they've had a chance to save, I think, what they have, hopefully. And we get some of our 57 Chevrolets back.
A chance to save what they had, or just the lack of opportunity to destroy it. I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
it's all the same.
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
result,
Every
but,
shot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean when things turn around, they're gonna learn
No.
what they've got automatically.
Well, they have put those coral reefs into a protection area.
Yeah.
You know, they're just beautiful down there. They were really getting really, you know, tight on those places, and the guys that are living out there in those mangrove swamps, that now they have the power to keep it like that and keep most of the people out. Yeah, the damage is going to be done, but the films I've seen in the last 6 months, just the fact that it's still there is pretty amazing, and that they do have an idea that how important it is. You know, they'll be a little bit ahead of the fight, maybe. But yeah, lack of resources, probably one.
Have you found that the public response to your book is what you would have predicted? Or have you been surprised in any way by
Well,
the responses you're getting?
the truth of the matter is that I saw this as I wrote it very quickly, and I saw it as a relatively small book. And this book, I've said it on my blog and elsewhere, like, to me this is the big brother. This is the one that I thought was the best thing I've done, and this was really fun and kind of spontaneous and quirky and in classic fashion. This went through the roof, and that's just kind of this exceeded expectations, and that fell short. Part of that is that part of that is the short attention span of Americans, which is no one wants to hear about the Gulf oil spill at this point. Soon after, I watched the country turn to tsunamis and Tea Party, and I just watched a kind of like obsessive one issue, and then Occupy Wall Street, everything is just like one, and this was the one, and people think they know. People think the story is big environmental disaster. Oh, it was overblown. Everything's fine, and move on down the line. So, but for me, I didn't want to write this as an environmental screed. I wanted to write it as a you are there, kind of heart of darkness. I'm down there. The weirdness I encountered. For instance, much like my Green Manifesto, I'm at Halliburton Road in southern Louisiana, looking at a roseate spoonbill that looks like a living bruise, and this beautiful bird, where I'm up watching an osprey nest at ground zero of the cleanup, where trucks are backing up, beep, 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 and the osprey is cue, cue, cue. And it's just this weird juxtaposition of beauty and industry. So to me, and my editors, they made this their top book of the, and we got great reviews, but we've basically gotten really very little response. Meanwhile, this has, it's in its second or third printing, and it's going through the roof, and that's fine. I mean, I'm happy to have one that they're reading, and and the Obama thing was big, like that he apparently bought it while he was on vacation on Martha's Vineyard with school, and but I'm not 100% sure he did, but the Boston Globe and other papers reported that he did, and that was just as it made. So, and it has been fun because I'm getting a lot of invitations to speak at schools and that sort of thing. But really, in the end, it points to how random things really are, because it's like it's a little bit like the Super Bowl coming from Boston. It's like a ball bounces one way, and then you write the narrative afterward. This is how it is. This was the better. It's like in publishing, it's not always the best book that outs. It's just kind of a weird confluence of things, and I'm really happy that this is done well. But it's not like Virtue won out. It's like just the weird